Yeah, it seems like as soon as you pivot to something else, people want to put you in a box where if you're a model and then you start talking about nuclear energy, people are like, what are you? I don't get it. You know, I need to fit you into what I think you are and what I expect you to be. And then when you evolve to something else,
Right.
people are even more confused. And I actually like that in people. I just listened to a podcast of this guy he's a UFC commentator, or a UFC referee, excuse me. So he referees mixed martial arts fights. He flies planes. He's a pilot for Southwest. He was in the Navy, and he has a bunch of master's degrees, and he like does all these different things, and he's constantly reinventing himself. And I really respect the people that are able to do that, like yourself, that are willing to take these uncommon views based on your initial career, which is a model, and then kind of build upon that and not default to the expectations of the box that other people want to put you in.
Yeah, I actually love that when people tell me that they can't put me in a box. I feel very proud of myself. Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of the time that we live in right now, is that we have so many ways of existing in the world and showing up in the world. And with the access to internet, people can learn pretty much anything, which again has had some catastrophic results recently, because they can learn pretty much anything good or bad.
Yeah, you can learn anything good or bad, and you can also teach anything good or bad without the credentials to teach it. You could call yourself a doctor and get on YouTube, and you know, millions of people follow you, and people find out you haven't actually studied medicine or anything. You're just like some random guy.
Which is something that I'm very concerned about, because I don't have any, right? Like I'm literally a model. I only have a high school diploma. I started going to college and I was like, I feel like this is a waste of money and time. And I just dropped out. So I definitely don't have any credentials to be talking about nuclear energy. So that's something I feel very responsible about. That's why I try to do a lot of research, and I have a lot of people who check all of my content before it goes out into the world. And
so you have other people in the community look at it before it goes
100%,
out?
100%. Now, for example, I'm working on a nuclear waste series that I've been working on forever. And I reached out to someone in the renewables community to check all of my numbers, because I'm going to be talking about renewables waste as well. And I had people in the nuclear community do the calculations for me, but of course they are biased. And so I just wanted to give the same chance that I'm giving people in the nuclear community to people in the renewables community. So it's basically 3 people. And we keep every weekend we work on different numbers. But yes, I definitely check all of my information several times before putting it out into the world.
Yeah. It seems like it would be a strength to have separation from the scientific community, to not have the quote unquote credentials, because you're doing a job that I think is needed, where you're transforming the fact-based evidence that scientists are discovering and constantly reevaluating and innovating. And scientists, at least the stereotype is that they're not super high in terms of the communication skills. Like, you could get away with being a scientist without having super effective communication skills. I say that as someone who's never worked in science. And you have this data that you want people to be able to absorb, and you need it to be put in a sort of a type of content that is interesting to people, and you're not just throwing facts at them, because you're never going to get anyone to change by just throwing facts in their face. You have to make people desire the change, and that's why I think you have a super hard job, and why it's good that maybe you're not like credentialed in that community, because your separation, it seems like it allows you to take that the facts and transform it into interesting content that is relatable to the average person like myself, who sees it where I'm like, oh, this is cool. This woman is dressed in this cool suit. Her eyes are lighting up. She's talking about something that has to do with makeup, but also there's this, like, she gets into nuclear, and like you weave the nuclear information, the nuclear energy facts in and out of your content. And the way that you do it is like some of the most popular YouTube videos or TikTok videos. And so that's a skill on its own, is being able to communicate effectively. And that's something I'm trying to work on now for myself as a podcaster, is how do I condense that down to a 140 character tweet or a 30-second video on TikTok and make that interesting to people. And you've obviously have found a way to do that, to take the facts that someone like me normally wouldn't care about, and then you put them in a video and you're like, oh wait, there's something here. Also, this video is interesting. This person, she looks like someone I would see out in New York City. She's not like a scientist in a lab somewhere that, maybe wouldn't be the first person I would talk to if I go out. So I think that is why it may be a strength, that your separation from that community kind of gives you the freedom to be creative with the data.
Right. And I don't think nuclear energy advocates were allowed to create such crazy content. It's I say the nuclear industry as if it was this one thing that everybody knows each other, but it's not. It's very separated, but they're very traditional. A lot of people are still very conservative in that community. And so I think if someone proposed to, I don't know, the science department, the nuclear engineering department at MIT, or, a nuclear energy company to create something like what I'm doing, it would be turned down immediately. Yeah. And a lot of people in the beginning, when I started releasing my videos, a lot of people in the community were shocked, and they reacted negatively. I still get people who are like, who are you? Why do you feel like you can talk about nuclear energy? Even though I'm saying positive things and my facts are right, they still criticize it because it's weird. But yeah, I think definitely what I found works in terms of condensing this dense information is just to contextualize the data, because people don't care about the energy density of uranium per se, but they care about the fact that you can create a lot more energy in a smaller space, which, requires less land, which then is better for the environment. Mm-hmm. So I think the key is always giving some context and always showing things that can be visually understood, at least in my case.
Could you
it's definitely a different skill.